everybody. Okay, can everybody hear me? At any rate, has anybody here ever shopped at Bay Plaza or live in Co-op City? Hello? Okay. I'm not going to have to explain too much then. What we have here is basically a new retail project that's being planned. This is the overview. Co-op City, the Macy's Mall, the all-important Bartow Avenue, and I'm going to bring your attention to this intersection here. This is where the gas stations are, so everybody knows that we've spent a lot of time sitting there. This is I-95 South, and Edson Avenue is the service road to I-95 South. It wraps around. This is the property that is going to be developed. It's opposite Home Depot, and this is Gun Hill Road here. I-95 going north, and the exit for Gun Hill Road is right here. And after you leave Home Depot currently, you come back to this area, you'll get on I-95 going this way. And I think everybody knows it unless it's up the diner. And here is the awful interchange, which I think we're all familiar about, where people get off the Hutchinson River Parkway, come around and try to get onto Route 95 while people leave Home Depot and cut them off. So that's where we are. Okay. Anything, I'm going to put Annie on the spot here, I have a lot of slides. Basically, it's also known as Sunhill Square and Baychester Square. The developer will come up with a name sooner or later. Grid Properties and non-organization is doing the work. It's planned. It hasn't even gotten to the Euro process yet. Possibly there might be some senior housing with the retail development. This is in Community Board 12. We're all in 10. The reason why we're presenting this is that the traffic from this project is really going to affect us, and also as we travel and we shop in Community Board 12, we'll give them lots of funding. Okay, so it's at the former golf driving range. On the north, it's bordered by the MTA bus depot. On the south, Gun Hill Road, and east and south, Edson Avenue, which is the I-95 service road. Construction was supposed to start in 2016, but the scoping process is taking longer than expected, so that will probably start later. As a consequence, the construction completion will be later. The description basically is about 400,000 square feet, two-story retail development, pedestrian focus. You'll be able to walk around and get wet in the rain. Ground level, the small shops, the upper level, the larger retailers, and a couple of intersections you'll see on the next slide. Approximately 1,200 cars will be able to be parked indoor or outdoor, and additional senior housing if public funding is available. This is the rendition from the architects during the scoping phase. Again, this is the MTA bus depot. The entrance to I-95 going southbound is over here, and you see it's off the grid. This is where the development is. It is south of that entrance. This is the senior citizen housing, Gun Hill Road. Small entrance and exit, outdoor parking, garage, retail. And this is the exit from I-95 going north. Okay, to access the retail development, there are two entrances on Edson Avenue, one exit onto Edson Avenue, one entrance from Gun Hill Road, and one exit onto Gun Hill Road. In the housing area, one small entrance and exit. And here they are. This is the senior citizen area over here, and you can see it's very small and the garage. This looks to be like the main entrance exit, but it's opposite Home Depot. You know there's going to be some congestion there. And then, of course, we have Aldi's and other retail up here. Gun Hill Road. Now, here's the road. People coming south on 95 on Edson Avenue, people coming, well, basically from Co-op City or from shopping at Bay Plaza will be coming this way. They put an entrance here and an entrance exit here. If you exit, you must wrap all the way around and come to this lovely spot here where the cars are barreling off 95. If you want to go to Co-op City to shop or to live and go back, you have to go all this way up beyond the slide to Gunther Avenue, make a right, get on Bartow Avenue, make another right, and get back at that lovely intersection where the gas stations are. Okay, as I said, these are our concerns. Our concerns are that intersection where the gas stations are, Bartow Avenue and Nixon Avenue. The Co-op City traffic, residents, and shoppers all have to go through that. After they've been shopping, gone through it once, everybody who wants to go back to Co-op City goes through it yet again. The intersection of Edison Avenue and Gun Hill Road, okay, that's where those cars go barreling off from Route 95, myself included. That is going to be a dangerous place because the traffic right now, all the traffic leaving the retail area on Edison Avenue will have to go through that route. There's a large interchange, which I think everybody knows about, Gun Hill Road, Hutchinson River Parkway, I-95, and Stillwell Avenue. That's basically now archaic. We've developed to such a point, residential and commercial, that that's totally out of date. The development's also going to call for some changes in our bus transportation, and they'll be looking to the MTA for that. Possible solutions. Okay, we looked at Bartow Avenue first, and that seems to be where the biggest problem is going to be, and that's up here. The proposed possible solutions are, this is the MTA bus depot. This is the entrance currently going down the service road, and you get on I-95 going south. As you can see, the retail's down here. We propose this be closed, and a new entrance be put down here. At the same time, we're proposing that the retailer put an exit up here instead of an entrance. So that way people could exit onto Edison Avenue and get on 95 South and get out of the neighborhood. A big traffic light right here at I-95 exit onto Gun Hill Road. And this is gonna take some doing. And here, reconfiguring the traffic light on Home Depot. This is going to be what looks to be the major entrance and exit for the retail. And at the senior citizen housing, some really nice long-term traffic lights. And these are relatively not expensive to make these changes. This configuration being the most. The most expensive would probably be a few $billion to completely redo this intersection. I mean, sooner or later, something's got to give. So we may get something in the short term, but at least something should be put in a capital program within the next 10 years to start doing something with this intersection. Okay, next one. Basically, we have an opportunity here, and this is a little bit different from what a lot of the other presenters have been talking about. We're here in the beginning of the project. We were made aware of it. A few of us from the coalition had the opportunity to go to the pre-scope meeting, and this meeting was recorded. Our comments were documented and saved, and it made, I think it's making an impression. And we also have the opportunity to follow up on that and continue to have input on this project. But most importantly, we need some legislation. And we call to our politicians to mandate legislation that will make developers, retail, sports complexes, whatever, include in their plan payment for improvement of transportation and traffic infrastructure. And government has to do its job too. Our elected officials should know that they have to come up with some funding too. You can't just build a lot of new nice things on top of old, unworkable infrastructure. Thank you.
So I'm going to speak a little about some of the recent improvements at Bay Plaza. As it says up here, last summer, you see that the, can everyone hear me right now? Okay. That the mall at Bay Plaza opened its doors. It's almost 800,000 square feet, providing 1,700 jobs, mostly in retail, which tend to be lower paid jobs, as everyone knows already. In anticipation of the mall's opening, they upgraded the exit ramp into the mall for a cost of $3 million. It's not exactly how it happened. What really happened is that as the mall was under construction, they went to the Economic Development Council and said the whole plan was threatened unless the exit was extended. So they started and then demanded that this be done to preserve all these jobs. And then finally down here, and this is from a recent article in City and State, the city property records show the developer is slated to receive a property tax exemption to the tune of $4.2 million in the next fiscal year. And that's everybody else's tax dollars to make up for that. To the next slide, please. This is a photo, obviously, from News 12. This is around, this is right after the mall opened, actually, so you kind of see some of the cars that are in there. I imagine the people who are there are not very happy. Next slide, please. And this is not a diagram that a 5-year-old made or a game of Chutes and Ladders. This is actually from a New York State DOT report. This is the method by which people in Culp City, I'm going to use the laser pointer, thank you. This is the ramp that if you were on the Hutchinson Parkway, that you would have to go in order to get to Culp City. You have to come around, loop off at exit 3E, go through the residential part of Pelham Bay, as Michelle already discussed, come on down, go onto one of the clover leaves, get on, or you can actually go down and turn at the roundabout right here, which I'm from City Island, drives everyone in City Island crazy because there's a traffic light there and it seems to come up at every meeting, well, many meetings that we have, not every meeting. Turn around, get back onto I-95, and then finally cut through either here, over in Section 5 in the Historic Village, or stay on I-95. So again, it is a kind of a maze here. And then to get from Culp City onto back onto Hutchinson River Parkway, you have to go again through Erskine Place, get on the highway, cut through again, all the way down, cut through another clover field. A very confusing way of going. You know, I don't envy those of you who have to make this commute. And again, these aren't my words or even my illustration. I don't think I could draw this. This was from a 2009 state DOT traffic report on the New England Thruway. Next slide, please. One good thing that's already been proposed is they are going to expand I-95 between Wilkinson Avenue all the way to the Hutchinson Parkway. So it will be 4 lanes going northbound. Now obviously we need this. This wasn't announced a typical fanfare. This was actually a link in a blog post that someone recently discovered on Google Alert. So it's not something they've really spoken about. It's a cost of $30 million, and it's gotten both federal and state funding. It's supposed to start construction in 2 years with an end date of 2021, and as we know from all the other things that have been promised, it will probably not be up in 2021. It'll probably be up much later than that. Hopefully, I guess it goes to 2025, I'll be 40 by then, so that might be a nice birthday present for me. And then again, what we need to do is we need to push for more funding to expedite this improvement and look for other forms of funding, perhaps such as city funds or other funding and competitive grants as it becomes available. Next slide, please. And this is another idea, which is directional signage. These are actually taken from right over by the Tappan Zee Bridge. This lane would be signage telling you to go on 87, and this elsewhere as well. One of the causes for congestion near I-95, right by Pelham Parkway, which everyone here sits through, whether you live in Country Club, City Island, Co-op City, wherever, is that there are 7 entrances and exits within 3,000 feet, rather. So you're given a lot's coming at you in terms of where to go and what to do. In Westchester County, again, they have a similar situation, how they deal with it on the tap, which actually John Morano brought to my attention, is they put down these directional markings. These are all the same, but again, some of the other markings have different directions on them, so it encourages people to go different ways. Consideration should also be given to a dedicated lane, since we know from another one of those slides from the DOT presentation, which I'm not going to pull out other slides that are now multicolored directionals that go everywhere, but it shows that 50% of the traffic on I-95 isn't going to stop at any of these 7 exits. So we just shouldn't give them the option. We should have them go through the community. They don't know what's coming at them anyway. And just have a more direct way. It will make traffic a little bit more bearable for the rest of us who we like to think we are more knowledgeable. And then another thing is in the far right lane, and this is for some of the people who go to City Island and Orchard Beach, it's supposed to be a dedicated lane for you to get off and go to City Island. But as we all know, nobody gets off there, so it winds up just being a lane for people to cut over, even though that it was not its intended destination. So after it's 4 lanes, something we think should be considered is for 2 of those 4 lanes to be, 1, a dedicated lane to bring everybody who's coming out on I-95 to go directly to, through the area, and another one to encourage people who are getting off at that exit or entryway to actually get off, to kind of force their hand, if you will, because again, we already have the roundabout and some of the other transit options down there. Next slide, please. And this was actually brought to my attention by Bill Studdick of the Culp City Times. This is a traffic report back from 2000, so 15 years ago, which showed that ramps off of the Hutchinson River Parkway was feasible and could be done. Unfortunately, I think it went in the G file, the circular file, on somebody's desk and never got seen again. You should go back in, thank you. This was done by Urbatron. It showed it was feasible. It would provide a direct route for the Culp City folks who I spoke about earlier, for them to have a more direct way, and it would take some of the traffic off of the residential streets in Pelham Bay. So again, this is why we need a holistic approach, because if I just look at it from a Pelham Bay standpoint, you're not going to solve the other community's problem. So this would make sense. It would also probably help with some of the other traffic, because as we said, I-95 is congested because residents of Culp City have an indirect way to access their neighborhood. They can go through the Hutchinson River Parkway and get very nice views of Section 5 and some of the other areas, but they can't access their community through here, and we feel that's wrong. So we believe that ons and off ramp, as was suggested 15 years ago, should be reconsidered. We've been told this is not feasible due to the wetlands that are near that area, even though they already, I believe River Bay already constructed a maintenance shed on those, pristine wetlands that are there. And as we know, at one point all of Culp City was swampland, and that was not so pristine that they couldn't build everything that they built there eventually. So the coalition penned a letter asking all relevant agencies about a month ago to reconsider these options. Next slide, please. And this was a suggestion by Assemblyman Benedetto. This would be as you're exiting Culp City, as you're exiting Bay Plaza now, rather, and you're coming down, and this would be Bartow Avenue, and this would be the service road if you go to 595. It backs up just like the photo I showed about 3 earlier, because people don't have to go under the underpass and kind of go the whole way around. So what Assemblyman Benedetto has been asking for both the federal government and the state government to do is to implement sort of a ramp or turnaround, which would go, I guess, above the highway itself. It's probably pretty expensive, but it is a good idea to help get those cars back going on I-95 North as quickly as possible. Again, another idea that deserves consideration. I kind of wanted to present some solutions rather than just present what's negative about it, because we can grumble about it all day long. Next slide, please. Okay, thank you.
Throughout the entire period when the many new developments in Northeast Bronx were being considered, initiated and considered and constructed, absolutely no adequate planning or preparation was done by our government agencies or those who oversee them. When this clear negligence came to light, former Country Club civic officers Marcia and Dick Pavlica and I asked all the community groups to come together to persuade those people who get paid with our tax dollars to finally do their job. Many volunteers from your community organizations did come together, forming the East Bronx Traffic Coalition, and they all worked diligently to try to get the missing in action government agencies to actually do something for our neighborhoods, even if it was far behind the time when they should have acted. The conversations with those agencies were not productive, respectful of your needs, or even your intelligence. Bluntly, we all, as friends, neighbors, and concerned Bronxites, need to come together to pressure those whose salaries we pay to actually fulfill their responsibilities to us. As you can see from the presentations this evening,